Hello, this is Angelo, and we are here with the 12th masterclass of Finish Stronger Challenge. Wow, 12 already. Yes, it's almost, we are almost 3 weeks away from the end of this demanding, yes, 100-day challenge. So before we begin, as always, I want to thank you and congratulate you for being here. Take a moment to congratulate yourself for still being here. You know how demanding this is. You know how narrow attention span is these days and how rare it is for someone to go through a 100-day challenge, to follow through and persist on their dreams instead of their limitations and their excuses. So, that said, for the next 30 to 45 minutes, since today we will be basically talking about what I like to call like advanced belief booster and advanced ways of tapping into higher value beliefs and beliefs that are serving, beliefs that take you where you want to go. You want to switch off your phone, like turn off all other tabs and everything that is non-serving to you. And for the next 30 to 45 minutes, let's assume that in this world, it is just you and me and the things we will be talking about here. Of course, you're more than welcome to take notes, but always remember that you have the review at your disposal if you want to go through some notes as well later on and be fully present to what we are talking about here. Last but not least, I want to remind you that we have crossed the point of no return. The only outcome that you allow in your consciousness from now on is to land happily and safely at your desired destination. So, the Finish Stronger journey continues. Last week, we saw why success leads to failure and why it is important for you to choose, to distinguish, first of all, and then choose between surviving and thriving. This week, we will be talking about how to make these new updates, these vital updates and upgrades in your belief system so that you can get where you want to go. Now, how do you feel? The question that I ask you every single time and the question that you want to ask yourself many times during the day, simply because the more the better you feel, the more energy you have. And to go from point A to point B, you need energy. This is how important it is to take a moment and check on how you feel and then do the exercises that I have given you to upgrade your feeling level and protect your emotional fortress. Now, maybe you remember that we've talked about this before, that your beliefs are not necessarily reality, but they are reality to you as you perceive the world, simply because they govern your thoughts and actions and filter your consciousness. So basically, your beliefs tell you what is going on in this world. It's not your senses that report to your mind. Your mind reports to your senses. And this is why we say that basically there are about 8 billion realities in this world. It is so vital for us to distinguish between belief patterns and reality and truth. So, that said, what you call reality is basically your belief system in action. It is our beliefs are so omnipresent, they're so ubiquitous that we think it is us that basically perceives this, but it is not. It is a software. It is actually a software. A software is something that you can update and upgrade, and you have to decide at some point whether you will stay completely stuck to your belief system and accept this as your reality, and then you will have to fine-tune your destination because you won't be able to get where you want to go with the current belief system. If that was the case, you would have achieved that already. And then The second option is to keep, as I like to say, the only fixed point in the whole universe is my destination. Everything else can and will change. What is that is going to change? Our beliefs. First of all, our beliefs, because our beliefs basically are the filter that allow us to decide what is available to us. Once we upgrade our beliefs, then the skill set and the tool set that is required for us to achieve any goal becomes apparent to us. Now, let us see an example. I went through this belief question in the Facebook group, the Finish Stronger Challenge Facebook group, and I just want to have like a group check on the beliefs about money. So I said, like money is fill in the blanks, right? So we got some answers like money is abundant, useful, and I deserve them. The beginning, energy, blessing when you know how to use them, a medium of exchange, infinite, and they exist to make our lives better when used in the right way, useful to serve you and bring more money, a means to achieve a goals we set, to have fun, my friends, joy. Wow. All these answers had to do with what money is. So now the question becomes, who is right? So many different opinions there. Who is right? And the not so apparent answer is everyone. Everyone is right because everyone is answering based on their current belief system. So each and every one feels right, right? So what you call reality is your belief system in action. Now I have a better, always Tony Robbins says, the quality of your life is bound to the quality of your questions. So now I have a more empowering question for you. Who must be right? If there is such a debate, and if each of us has a valid answer to any question, to any problem, to any challenge, to any goal, if it is large or small, easy or difficult, and so on, who must be right? And the answer is your super self. Your super self is your ideal mentor simply because your super self has already achieved what you want to achieve. Your super self is the version of you who is already at your destination and knows that number one, it can be done, and number two, it has been done, and number three, knows the way. So, we always ask ourselves, is this belief right or wrong? No, we don't ask this. We ask if this belief is serving or not. And basically, what we mean about that is, would this belief be something that is part of our super self's operating system? This is how important this distinction is, because what you call reality is your belief system in action. So, until you assume the belief system of your super self, it will be virtually impossible to live your super life. Our beliefs will always precede the upgrade on our beliefs will always precede the upgrade on our results. If we want higher levels of success, if we want a more fulfilling relationship, something has to change inside. Something has to change within first. We have to make this part of our reality. And in order to allow this new level of happiness and or success, we need to upgrade our beliefs first so that this can be accessible to us. So, now, warning here. I want to warn you, and I did my best to make an imprint in your consciousness right now that this is law, basically. You cannot like try, you may try, but you will never ever succeed in like tricking the system. As one of my favorite mentors, Neville Goddard, used to say, you cannot have, like a new patch on an old garment and call it a new garment. It won't work. And so many of us are going down this road and ask themselves why they cannot have the results they want. They cannot simply because they're trying to like make some kind of changes in a non-serving environment, in a non-serving operating system. And maybe you remember back in the very first masterclass, which was back in September 12th. Wow. Wow. So you remember the three forces, right? The three forces that govern basically everything in our lives. It's the will, force number one, the will, which is basically your focus. Where are you directing your focus right now? It is all the forces that pull us forward and the forces that drag us back. They keep us stuck where we are, And your beliefs must overpower any resistance you have. This is like why I was telling you about these forces, because now you see, and it can become apparent in your life. If you have a lot of, like resistance going on, if you have low value emotions, if you have limiting beliefs, if you have like thought patterns that are not serving you at all and have nothing to do with the achievement of your goal, you will find yourself stuck. On the flip side, once you start upgrading your thoughts and fortifying new, more empowering beliefs, you will feel that you are pulled forward towards where you want to go simply because you have overpowered any resistance that is still there. And how long do you persist? Until. So one might ask, like Angelo, how many daily sources of inspiration should I read before I achieve my goal? Or how many seminars do I have to go? How many master classes of Finish Stronger Challenge should I watch? How many books should I read? How many podcasts should I listen? And the answer is, it depends on where you are and where you want to go in life. There is no right number. It's a matter of how easy it is for you to let go, to completely release and dump resistance and anything that is not serving you at all. And on the flip side, to allow in your life high value thoughts, emotions, and actions. So, maybe you've heard me say this before. Now that I reminded you of these three forces that govern our lives, let me show you why I have these three super questions, three key questions that not only I ask my coaching clients, but I suggest to all the other people, like most of the people that are not being coached by me, they can self-coach themselves using these three questions. Number one, where do you want to go? Number two, why? So now I know how powerful this pull is. And number three, which is the biggest obstacle right now towards getting there? So now, where do you want to go? Now I know where your focus is. Why? Now I know how powerful this force is and which is the biggest obstacle. We may have like 100 obstacles to where we want to go, but the weakest link is always the biggest obstacle. This is the one. If we cannot find a way to overcome this obstacle, all the other obstacles are basically irrelevant to the equation. This is why we care about these three things. And when you give me these three answers, if I was coaching you, I know how far from your destination you are. If you give me, like an unclear goal, I know that you still need some clarity. if you give me a lukewarm why, I know that you're not fired up. And basically, your destination is not pulling you forward. And this is why you feel the stress of trying, like to push things to happen. And if you give me, like a really powerful obstacle, I know that now there is a lot that needs to happen in the area of truly overpowering this obstacle, this challenge, this resistance. So let us remind ourselves how impossibles become possible, how belief systems change to the point that, like, really amazing things happen in this world and humanity at large. And of course, one of the great examples was about 120 years ago. And I think it was about that period of time, like near Christmas or something, that the Wright brothers performed the first flight. And of course, a lot happened before that, and like humongous failures. And the Wright brothers, they didn't have like all the resources in the world. They were like fixing bicycles and selling bicycles and services to make some money and be able to try again and again and again. But every time that they were failing, one was telling the other, you know what, brother, I can see us fly nicely and swiftly. And this was that kept the vision alive. This belief, this core fundamental belief that was never touched. This is what you want as well for your vision. To never ever question the achievement of your desire. Now, another example, more recent one, which is about 70 years ago. It was like almost every single scientist was saying that we cannot run, humanity at large cannot run a mile in under 4 minutes. But this is what Roger Bannister did, and how he did it, because he was no athlete. I'm not quite sure, but I think he was an accountant. But for some reason, there was like a fixation in his mind that, you know what, I will be the one that will make all these fools wrong. And this was his powerful why, and he started working on this goal. But the thing that he did the most was visualizing himself running the mile in just under 4 minutes, and this is exactly what happened. And once Roger Bannister broke this 4-minute mile record, then more people did it, because now it has become accessible. If you remember the masterclass that I was talking to you about, these 2 new words that you want to have in your vocabulary, this specific goal, this specific achievement came from the out possible to the impossible. It has come within the realm of possibility for us. Now, another example is the great Tiger Woods. And his father was telling him from a very young age that it is, like the best golfers in the world are here. Then there's like a huge gap, and then it's you. This is how successful you are. No one can touch you. You are by far the very best golfer. And he was hearing at this, like over and over and over. And this belief was being, like cultivated. The seeds were like very early, and his father made sure that these will sprout into a very powerful, very firm belief. And of course, Tiger Woods expressed this belief with his amazing career. Of course, now the question is, but Angelo, Finish Stronger Challenge ends in just a few days. So I don't have like these decades to cultivate powerful beliefs so that I can achieve my goal by the end of this year, my number one priority for Finish Stronger Challenge. So what do I do now? Let me give you another example then. It was this period of time 7 years ago. And yes, this is a Greek book that I wrote in under a day. So, what happened 7 years ago? I was I was doing a program for my paid clients, and this was like basically like an early version of the 100-day challenge. So I was doing videos every single day, and it was very demanding because I knew I had to do 100 videos and webinars in 100 days. And of course, in order to do so, I was taking care of myself, and I was making sure that my consciousness would elevate every single day to the point that I could deliver, right? So around Christmas time, I read basically that in Iceland at Christmas, everyone gives a book to their friends, like family and so on. And I thought it would be a great idea to give, like to my whole community a book. Of course, that would be like a logistics nightmare. And of course, the cost would be humongous to send, like a book to each and every one. And so the idea was great, but I had no book to give. So I thought, why not write one? And the crazy thing was back then, and I didn't notice it. I realized it, like days, if not weeks later, that I was unconsciously doing the right thing, and I never ever questioned this idea. So I never said, like, how on earth are you going to write a book in like a couple of days' time or a week's time or so? So I began writing the book, and that book was 17 Secrets for a Happy and Successful 2017 that I wrote and published in about 17 hours. And yes, this is a true story. Not only that, I managed to deliver the book to a bit less than 5,000 people within a few days, simply because it is a digital book, it was free, it was a giveaway, and it was like an amazing story, an amazing case study, an amazing proof of what can happen if you remove your limitations from the picture of your success. So imagine now, if I can write a book in 17 hours, what can you do in the remaining 17 days of the Finish Stronger Challenge and a bit more, like 19 days or something that we have left? Yes, you can do a lot if you dismiss your limitations from the picture. No, you cannot do much if you keep yourself like fixated with your excuses, with your limitations, and everything that was an obstacle to your happiness and success up until now in your life. But I want to caution you again, because this is something that we tend to not forget, but to like dim the importance of what I am about to say. And I've said it in many ways during today's masterclass, that you don't need time. You don't need effort. All you need is immense focus. It's a matter of discipline. It's a matter of loving yourself enough and caring yourself about your destination. It's about truly caring to see your super self in the mirror and your super life before your very eyes. It's about having this like blind faith to the achievement of your goal. It's about loving who you are and being in love with who you are becoming. It's that kind of attitude. So now you know why I said warning and I presented this very flashy, like slide before. Because you need to be warned once again that it is up to you to make this shift. And yes, I know, and I've been there before, and I am still at this level of like truly being, like challenged with limiting beliefs that are a few decades old, and they carry a lot of momentum. Understand what that means to our, like potential, but always remember that you, as a point of consciousness, you are able to make decisions and shift this attitude right now. It doesn't have to take long. All it takes is this is where you begin. This decision, this shift that make everything else change for you. So all you need is 5 core beliefs and 5 like uh, special beliefs that have to do with you. And let me give you briefly these beliefs because I believe most of them, you know them already. If they may not still be part of your operating system, but as we've said before, the seeds are there and they are being cultivated right now, and they're sprouting every single day. And every time you repeat these thoughts instead of something that is not serving or opposite to these beliefs. Number 1, I deserve everything I want, and everyone deserves my best self. This punchline that I'm finishing every single daily shot of inspiration since January 1st, 2015. So almost 3,500 days. I'm finishing with the same sentence because I know how challenging deservingness can be in people's lives. Number 2, I believe in myself. This is like a fundamental, a core belief. I believe in myself. I know that self-belief and self-confidence is subjective. So, for example, maybe you're like a big guy, like with like muscles, and maybe you've had like martial arts training, and maybe you feel self-confident being challenged by another person. But what about a math problem? You might not be self-confident there. So this fundamental belief will help you elevate your self-confidence in any environment and allow all other more subjective beliefs to take place so that you can reach your destination. Number 3, I forgive myself because I love myself unconditionally. So with this belief, you remind yourself that forgiveness is part of your self-love process. It has nothing to do whether you agree or you consent to what has happened to you by someone else, right? Next, I feel grateful for everything I have and everything I am creating. So, this belief has 2 parts. Number 1, I feel grateful for everything that I am and that I have right now. That has to do with our past. And I feel grateful for everything that I am creating. So, let me ask you quickly. When you say thank you, when do you say thank you, right? When you receive something. So, by saying thank you to your destination, you are presupposing that on a mental and an emotional level, you have arrived. This is like your happy landing in action. So now you're telling yourself that it is done. I have arrived at my destination. 5th, I am happy and march unstoppable towards my vision. For me, this is like the best state to be during the day. I am happy, so I am not negotiating happiness. Happiness is unconditional. So I am happy, and now as I am in the flow, because flow is the mental equivalent of the emotional state of happiness. And I march unstoppable towards my vision. So I'm going towards my vision from the path of least resistance, the path of most growth, and the path of most fun, simply because I have taken care of my emotional state first. Now, the 5 private, unique, special beliefs that have to do with you, or You might have heard me say the 5 waves in the past. These are the 5 waves that you have to go through to reach your destination. Number 1, I believe I want it. And many times I'm getting asked, like, of course, this is my desire. Of course, I want it. I can assure you, Angelo, I want it. And this is not the case, because many times we want a 6-pack and a 6-pack, right? So which one would be, right? You have to choose. You have to make sure, and you have to convince yourself that what you say is your desire is your desire. Number 2, I believe I deserve it. So this goes back to our, like, challenge deservingness levels. So you want to repeat yourself that I am enough. I truly deserve what I want, this, that, or the other. Number 3, I believe I can do it. Make sure that your belief precedes any effort you make to upgrade your skill set, because if not, your belief set will compromise your skill set. And you will say over and over again, it can't be done. It can't be done. Yes, it can. And as a reminder and to help you fortify this belief, most of our desires have already happened. Someone else is at our destination. So you might say, like, I want to be a millionaire, or I want to have a truly loving and a truly caring and meaningful relationship. These things have happened. Okay? So stop, like, trying to convince yourself that you cannot do it. There are people who have came back, who have, like, truly got their health back from what was like an incurable disease. So how about that for a challenge? How about that for a goal and a destination? You can do it. Next, I believe I will do it. And many times, I get the question, well, if I want something, and if I believe I deserve it, and if I believe I can do it, sure enough, I will do it. No. How many people, obesity, let's take obesity for a moment. Is obesity a problem of deservingness, or a problem of, like, skill? I cannot lose weight, or a problem of willpower? So again, it has to do with decisions now. So you understand that you have to convince yourself that you actually will do it. And when you cross this demanding 4th wave, you will bump into the most demanding one of all, to believe that it is done. To convince yourself at a mental and most importantly, at an emotional level, that what you cannot see with your eyes open, you can actually see with your eyes closed, and it is done. And all it takes now is for everyone else to see it. This is why I'm being, like, so persistent in reminding you of the importance of happy landing exercise in terms of frequency and intensity. Now, what we've said up until now in one sentence, in a nutshell, is that you upgrade your beliefs until there is no time frame, there is no, like, effort frame, until you arrive at your destination, which matters to you that much. This is why we begin such journeys by asking ourselves, which is our number 1 priority? This is the difference between authentic, truly meaningful, burning desires and Instagram desires. So if you made, like, a choice in the beginning, and what you named as your number 1 priority for this year truly matters a lot to you, you want to persist in upgrading your beliefs until your beliefs have to be so big that your super self and your super life can fit in. This is when it is enough. Next, your homework. Number 1, consciously upgrade your beliefs. And let me remind you once again, It doesn't take time. You can do like a power walk, a 5 minute power walk, when you go like from where you are to your office or whatever, right? Or as you wait in line someplace, or as you're having a shower, and you can repeat your affirmation and fortify a certain belief. Always remember that it is a matter of caring. This is the game changer. If it is high in your consciousness and your priorities, it will happen. It doesn't take extra time. You can cook and at the same time repeat affirmations, or see yourself at your destination and do like a brief version of the happy landing exercise. All it takes is for you to be non negotiable with your destination and negotiable with your current belief system. Last but not least, upgrade, elevate your attitude and your involvement in the group. We have just about 3 weeks left. So, number one, ask the questions that need to be asked. Do not like stay with the problem hanging there, because it will fortify your procrastination. Basically, get your questions answered. Share, number two, share your wins, no matter how small they are, and regardless if it had to do with something you learned at this Finish Stronger Challenge or not. Because just by sharing wins, you elevate the collective consciousness and emotional fortress of the group. And number three, still, you can invite others to this group if you feel it will be valuable to them, if they're having a challenge in their lives right now. So, that said, I want to thank you for your attention and your participation. I will see you next week with the 13th Finish Stronger Challenge Masterclass. Until then, we will be like changing thoughts and ideas and success stories and everything else within the group. And I want to leave you once again with this simple thing. You deserve everything you want, and we all deserve your best self. See you next week. Ciao, ciao.